like to welcome to day 4 of going through my journey within introspective journal. So the quote for today is, "Why fit in when you're born to stand out? What makes you unique, and how do you stand out from others?" And if you want to, go ahead and pause the video and take about 10 or 15 minutes to write about this question. Again, I recommend to not spend too much time thinking about it and just jump in and write whatever comes to mind. So I'll be back here in a second to go through what I wrote. Okay, so I just reread my response to this question from several months ago. And to be honest, I don't really like the response that I gave. I feel like maybe some things were going on at that time that brought my mind to this one specific thing. Kind of like I said yesterday, like I think depending on kind of what's going on in society or what's going on in my life at the time, it will be reflected in some of these things. This one still kind of goes along with the theme of me not feeling comfortable with how I interact with people. So I guess that's something. But anyway, so to the question, what makes you unique and how do you stand out from others? And I responded, I wouldn't say that anything about me is completely unique, but I do feel like I'm a bit different from the norm. Some of the differences I think are good, like I have a high curiosity, leading me to constantly be learning about things. I tend to keep to myself, which can be good or bad. It's good because I rarely get involved in any drama, and I think that keeps me from having a negative impact on people. That sentence in particular, I don't really know, like, I'm rarely getting involved in any drama, and it keeps me from having a negative impact on people. Looking back now, I think it's good that I keep to myself because it does it isolates me from being involved in drama because I guess in some of my past experiences, I feel like when I'm by myself, I don't typically have negative thoughts about other people or other groups of people, but sometimes there's certain people that you can be around that are just like constantly like criticizing other people or talking bad about other people. And I've noticed in myself that when I hang out with those people that are criticizing other people, even though if I'm on my own, I would have never noticed like anything about the person they're criticizing. Once they point it out, I'm like, yeah, you're right, kind of like a bandwagon sort of thing. And so if I'm not hanging out with other people, I don't tend to have critical thoughts of other people too often. Whereas certain people you hang around, if they're like that all the time, it can kind of like negatively affect you. And I don't know why I put like keeps me from having a negative impact on people, because I don't feel like I typically do that, but I don't know. For some reason I wrote that. But again, like I said, for some of these questions, for almost all of these questions, I just started writing, and whatever came in the top of my head is what came out. So some of these responses aren't going to be the best. But going on from there, so on the other hand, kind of keeping to myself keeps me from also building positive relationships with people. So I kind of like isolate myself to protect from the negative, but then it also keeps me from like the people who would have a positive impact on my life as well. One thing I like about myself that makes me a bit different is the fact that I always try to look at issues from a broader scope. And I don't know exactly what was going on at this time. I'm pretty sure I started this journal in early January of 2022. And I get the sense from what's coming next that maybe something political, really political, was going on in the news. So I could probably look it up, but I don't know if it was like related to like COVID or stuff like that. But anyway, something was going on that it sounds like people were arguing about. So I like to look at issues from a broader scope, and I put, like, instead of getting triggered and angry about a lot of issues, and then I put in parentheses, like a lot of people are doing today, I try to look at both sides and understand where they're each coming from. Um, Even if I think one side is wrong, I don't think that most people are inherently bad. And I understand that even if they're wrong, there are often several underlying factors that affect why they think or believe what they do. Um, and I put, I guess this would make me a good mediator. Not that that really makes me stand out, but I do think it's different from many people today. And I think a big reason I feel this way is because I think I've mentioned before, like, I'm hesitant to try to teach people or, anything like that, like state anything as like a fact, because there's so many times in the past that I've believed things and I've thought I was right about things. And because I'm quiet, I'm not vocalizing it, so it's only in my head. I'm, for the most part, there, and there's been a few times that I did like vocalize my views on a few things, and every single time looking back, I'm just embarrassed, and I'm like, I hope people don't remember that I had this view on something at this one time. And so yeah, literally there was like maybe 2 or 3 Facebook posts that I did like years ago that I'm just mortified that I did that. Um, but yeah, so I think that's why I don't immediately like demonize people that have kind of some weird views, because I know that I've had some views on things that I've come now to not feel the same way about. And so I like to give the people the benefit of the doubt that some of them are like me, and maybe if more information is presented to them, or if certain information is presented in a certain way, then maybe they would change their views instead of just like completely write them off. But it does seem like that's getting harder and harder because people are getting a little bit polarized. And I think there are quite a few people like me that see that there's a lot of gray areas and a lot of these topics that seem like binary, like either you're right or you're wrong, it's this or it's that. And looking at people arguing, some of it just to me seems just like a little bit wild that people can't look at the broader picture on things. But yeah, that's obviously something was going on at this time. And I mean, I don't think it was January 6th, because that would have been the year before, but maybe it was around that time and it was getting brought up again or something. Like, I don't know what it was, but we've had a lot of diversive things come up over the last few years, so it could have been any number of things. But yeah, but thinking of this now, I'm starting to think that I am more unique than I originally thought, but I don't think I was always unique, if that makes sense. Like, it's mostly because of discussions that I've been having with my roommate recently. Like, over the past several months, we've gotten like really, really close, and I feel like both of us are like kind of like best friends. And I think we both feel like now we know each other better than anybody. And he'll mention to me now, like, all the time that like I'm so different, but he doesn't call it, and he'll even say that I'm weird, but not say it in like a negative way. Um, and he just says, he's like, I don't know that I could ever be roommates with anyone else because you're just so different. And like the things that one thing he's mentioned is that I'm like a different person like every week. And I think it's because of what I talk about, how I'm into so many different topics. And so I'm constantly always like bringing up I'll do these deep dives into something that I find interesting, and then I'll talk about it with him. And then he's like, I've learned so much about so many different things. Some of the things are weird, some of the things are fun, some of the things are interesting, you know. So it's, but I feel like a lot of people are like that. There are some people that just get in their niche and they're just really interested in like one or two things, and like that's their whole personality. And a part of me wishes I could be like that, to just like always be happy with like one thing, and like anytime that thing, I think one of those things might be cats for me though. Like I do really enjoy cats, and cats always seem to make me happy. But um but yeah, I don't know. He seems to think I'm unique in that sense, but a lot of the things that he points out that he says that I'm unique in, I just always felt like everybody was like that. I didn't feel like I was very different, but he starts mentioning things and pointing things out. Again, not in a negative way. It's always kind of in a positive way. And just being like, no, other people aren't like that. Other people don't think like that. So because like having the feedback from him, I get the sense that I'm unique, but I'm not sure it's unique in a way that like everybody would enjoy, but he does. So, you know, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Do you think you're unique, and is there something that's really unique about you that makes you stand out? And what is that? And what do you think about that? So, I guess if you want to share your answer, feel free to do that, and I will be back tomorrow with day 5.